Hi, welcome to week 2. This week we turn our attention to Genesis, which is probably my favorite book of the Old Testament. Probably my favorite book of the whole Bible, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. Now, before we turn our attention actually to the text of Genesis, I do want to talk about a little bit more about the issue of the Bible and history. Last week's readings did a pretty good job of covering this, but this week I want to introduce some new concepts, some new terms that are going to help us to deal with it, namely what's called the three dimensions or the three worlds of the text. Sometimes this is also called psychological biblical criticism. And it's advantageous to us because it allows us to set the issue of textual historicity within a broader literary theoretical context that helps us to make distinctions between author and text and helps us to consider the role of the reader in the production of meaning. And when we get to Genesis, which is the bulk of this week's readings, my goal is not to summarize the whole book or to comment on every little detail. Instead, what I want to do is I want to help you to see the coherent literary message of Genesis by tracing its literary and theological themes throughout the book, and show you in some general way how all of the book somehow contributes to these themes. Now, for those of you who are really itching to get at J, E, P, and D, the source criticism, documentary hypothesis, we're not going to do that just yet, even though Genesis is kind of the classic place to deal with it. I have reasons for not wanting to prioritize that. We will cover it next week when we talk about Exodus. But for this week, let's just focus on reading the book of Genesis as literature, as theological literature, and appreciating it in that way. So yeah, I'll be online this week to answer any questions. Hope you have a great week.